What's going on, everybody? This is your man, Dr. John C. Turner, aka the Professor JT, and we are live with my very first doc chat. And I got some heavy hitters on for y'all today because we gonna come with the real truth about what it is to get a doctor's degree. I got Dr. Aaron Slocum. I got Dr. Vashawn Broadnax. These are my brothers from another mother, man. I'm telling you, these men I seen go through the journey, and they went through the journey with me. So we're gonna come with some real talk about what it is to get your doctorate degree. If you are listening to us, if you are checking us out, make sure that you go ahead and put in the chat that you hear where you're from. If you're in a doctorate program, let us know you're in a doctorate program. And if you graduated from a doctorate program, let us know what doctorate program you graduated from. We would love to holla at you. But without further ado, I'm gonna let these brothers go ahead and spill a little knowledge. So, Dr. Aaron Slocum, you are up to the batter's plate. Do your thing, my guy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Aaron Slocum. My research was, my dissertation focus was on I'll go without for my child to have, understanding the experiences of single Black mothers who provide support for their child during college attendance. Um, I went to Indiana State University. I started in 2014, was able to graduate in 2020. Yes, I am a COVID graduate. And I am just so happy to be here on your show, John.
We appreciate that. Dr. Fashawn, you up on the doc chat. Tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
All right. Hey, how's everybody doing? I graduated from Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. So I graduated May of 2022, but I started in fall of 2015. So it's been a long journey, but a great journey. A lot of stories to share. And my study was over is an auto ethnographic study of three Black fathers in a doctoral program at a predominantly white institution. So again, please ask away. I'm definitely, want to share my experience and tell you more about this process.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I see the folks out here showing up for the blue fire out there. I see them out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yay!
We ain't gonna hold that against y'all since we got these wet shoulders over here, you know what I'm saying? Kappa Alpha Psi out here. We representing, they representing for you out here, Dr. Aaron. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Miss
That's my
Kimberly, we
sister.
appreciate you chiming in as well. Hey, go for those doc programs. And let me tell you, this guy, Dr. Vashawn, tell us what you said, Dr. Vashawn, about you doing your thing.
So, I mean, it was a great journey, talking about my doc program, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. We're
So,
gonna go into, let's say, your life before you started out. What was your life like, and why did you
oh,
decide to go for your doctor program?
man, life before a doc program was beautiful, man. It was free, stress free. No, it was great. It was a great, I was married, freshly married. I've probably been married with 3 years. I got married in 2011, started 15. So I just got married. And me and my wife were just, cruising the scene and understanding where we wanted to be. And we actually lived in Little Rock before I moved to Indiana, which is a big culture shock for me. But again, it's something different. I went to a PWI as an undergrad and grad school, but moving from Western Kentucky University to Little Rock, Arkansas, it was a culture shock. But moving from Little Rock to Muncie, Indiana, if you're familiar with the area, boy, I was struggling. I was really struggling.
Mhm.
But, one of the things I tell people, people ask, why did you do a doc program? And funny enough, I never envisioned doing it, right? I thought I was just going to be my master's and I was like, I'm going to be done, chill, do the higher ed thing, work my way up. But I saw a need in regards of, yeah, you need to be a doctor so you can move up further and further. But unfortunately, I wasn't I didn't think I wanted to do it, right? But some told me, Vashawn, go and apply, see what happens. So I was in my back of my mind telling, I ain't gonna get accepted. I ain't gonna get accepted. Don't have to worry about it. Sure enough, they let me in. I was like, dang, I'm in. All right, I guess I gotta do it, man. So I started, like I said, it's fall of 2015 and taking a class at a class. And I was working full time at the time. So and also during that fall, I had a daughter, she's 7 now, but had a daughter and it was, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I got a little one. I'm doing my doc thing and whatever. And I was getting through my coursework, and the coursework was fairly simple, nothing too crazy. But once I got to the latter stages, I was like, oh, things changed. And
Uh-huh.
I was
Uh-huh.
like, wait,
Hold
what
that thought
happened?
right there before you jump into that.
All right, go ahead.
Because I like that. I like that. Dr. Aaron, kind of tell me about your life. What made you jump into it? How was your life like? And then when you realized, oh, I'm about to jump in this thing.
Wow. Well, I always pay homage to my friends. In undergrad, I had 4 friends, and we all decided to get our master's degrees when we were undergrads. So we all made like a little pack and was like, we're going to get our master's degrees. And all of us got our master's degrees. And then one of us went up and got their doctorate or started doctoral coursework.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, maybe all of us can go on and do this. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to jump in, you know? So I jumped in. I had some support from at that time, my wife, who was at that point my girlfriend, said, hey, go ahead and do it. You can do this. So I always pay homage to my friends for planting that seed for me to get the master's degree. But after getting that master's degree, it was really focusing in and honing in on getting that doctorate. And I have a host of individuals I can shout out in regards to individuals who served as distant mentors. So I would say Corey Guiding, at that time, he was a hall director here at Indiana State University. He was pouring into me. He's a Sigma. It was love. He was telling me how he was, going to coursework and how he was getting his doctoral degree very cheaply because Indiana State paid 80% of his. So I was like, okay, let me focus in on how to get this and make it affordable for me. Having the opportunity to be or have Black professors, it was a go. So I went ahead and I said, okay, I work at Indiana State. Check. The program is here. Check. Applying. Check. Got in, and then it was time to go. It was time to work.
I like
So I
that.
went ahead and had my support system with me, and it was a very strategic move in regards to being able to afford it and being able to interact with instructors and professors um, to accomplish this goal.
That's good stuff right there. That's what
Good,
we're
good.
talking about. And we got folks chiming in. They talking about they want to know how to do this thing. They talking about they want to know how to get it done. And that's what it's about. Shout out to my friend Jill. She's out there. I appreciate you tuning in. We got some other folks that's in programs. They tuning in. And man, they loving that Dr. Slocum out there, man.
Hey, I
Love the
see
Dr. Slocum
so
out
much
there.
love.
The
I love it. I
celebrity right
love it.
there.
So we're gonna go back to my good old Doc Rashawn. You in that program now. You in there,
Right.
coursework, easy. Now let's kind of talk about what happened at this end here. What was going on?
So, first off, I was a first gen doc student, right? So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. So I was just listening to what my old committee was telling me.
Mhm.
And they were saying, do this. I'm like, okay, taking their advice. And there was things that came up that was like made me question. I'm like, why? And of course, most students, they say how high, you say how jump, and they say how high. I guess I wasn't that individual, right? But I was very inquisitive. I always wanted to know a reason why. Um, but like I said, once I got to my comprehensive exams, I got done with course or comprehensive exams.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure. So I was like, okay, let me go talk with people that passed it and what did it look like? Because the first time I did it, I did not know what I was doing. And honestly, I failed it. And I was like,
Mm.
crap, that was rough.
Mhm.
So I had to redo it over, but I also got help and connected with people and follow what they did. And the second time I passed it with flying colors. Um, but there were some things that kept popping up that they kept commenting on. And I was like, okay, I'll make that change. And then I make the change and they make another change. And I was getting to a point where like, yo, I'm getting frustrated. You making me change every 5 minutes every time you just said this. And I think I got really frustrated. My mental health was going crazy, right?
Real
Because
talk.
even at that time, I had a second child, right? So at the
Mm.
same time, I'm trying to make sure my wife is happy, make sure my oldest is happy, my newborn child is happy. And at one point, I just like went dark, right? So I tell everybody about my period where I was dark stages, and I was like, I couldn't function, right? I wasn't, there's things that happen outside of work. I'm outside of class, and I just couldn't handle it. And I was like, you know what? I stepped away. I had to step away. This is after I passed my second time taking comps, and I just couldn't do it. But I think, you know, but that time away allowed me to visualize who I was and who I am, right?
Good.
Because one of the biggest things was, which was wild till this day, no one from my committee called me and said, "Hey, Vashon, how's everything going?"
Whew. Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah.
But some other faculty members from another program called me and said, "Hey, you okay? You doing fine?" Shout out to Dr. Ruby Kane. Love her to death, man. If you know her, you know her, man. She was like my support, man. And also Dr. Duca, man, Michelle Glowacki Duca. She was super dope too, man. And they were just like there. They're like, hey, if you need to talk, come chat with us, because they knew what I was going through.
Mm.
But I came back, did court, conference exam, worked on my proposal, and I was sending it to them. They're like, no, you can't talk about that. No. And they were debating everything I was saying,
Yeah.
in the sense that I wasn't intelligent enough to talk about it.
Mm.
And that was really frustrating. And to the point where when I passed the fence, they're like, well, we don't, they were really skeptical. They really, I kind of got the feeling that I was in a black hole, I wasn't going to pass from them. So I had to make a change. I had to change my committee, change my program.
That's real. That's real.
And, I realized that it's kind of like, say you have a product you're selling, like, your black owned business, and people that don't support you, you lose them. But there's people that will support you.
Mhm.
You kind of have to cater to them, or you have to work with them more. And that's what it felt like. And I was like, you're not really supporting me, and sure enough, I switched the committees, and it was like night and day.
Mhm.
They were supportive. They were talking to me, telling me stuff. They're like, look at this, look at that. This is a great research article. But like I said, looking back at it, my research interest didn't align with their research interest. So that's another thing I tell people, when you are doing your doc, get a committee that has similar or, you know, relevant research interests. Because if, they're talking about LGBTQ issues and I'm a heterosexual male, we don't mesh well. Or even they're talking about politics. I'm like, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about this. So black issues, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You definitely have to be conscious of what their interests are and how they align up to yours, because that makes the journey up so much easier.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Because even though they're signing off on that dissertation, before you know it, you got to be careful. They almost might try to make that dissertation theirs, and
Yeah.
they might say, look, put some of this from my book inside your dissertation.
Mhm.
And it happens. It happens. So we're gonna go to Dr. Aaron right here. And I'm telling you, man, I don't know what it is about this dude, man, but
So much love.
they showing the love out here
They
to
saw
this
so
dude,
much
Dr.
love. And it's
Aaron.
a
You know what
beautiful
I'm
thing.
saying? Look at this love right here. I'm just
So
saying.
much love.
So go ahead and jump in to kind of what was it for you? And like I said, Dr. Vashon brought that fire. That's that real talk that sometimes people don't understand with these doc programs. And Dr. Aaron, you had some experiences yourself.
Yes. So in my doc program, it's 2 years of coursework, and then you go ahead and take those comp exams, and then you jump right into dissertation. So the 2 years of coursework, strategic in regards to making sure that I was on task, making sure I was doing things in the right manner, being able to get feedback from my instructors on how to become a better writer, how to even conduct research. I'm also a first gen master's graduate and PhD, so it was all a different learning process. And I'm so glad that I had black instructors to be able to not look at me or differently for asking those type of questions. I think that's one thing that was a blessing to have, specifically at Indiana State. We got two prominent black professors, which is Dr. Mary Howard Hamilton and Dr. Candace Hinton. So I didn't feel no shame going to them and be like, all right, how do I change this up? What do I need to work on? Now, don't get it twisted. They would kick me in the ass. Like it was, it wasn't all, pampering. It was more so we need to prepare you for the real world, and you're going to be interacting with many different individuals. So I would say, taking advantage of those office hours. I would say staying up late at night trying to figure things out, missing out on family activities. It was just a part of what I was trying to accomplish. Right. And even, with my significant other, I'll eat something and then have to go home, or, not give my significant other the amount of time that I felt she should have received. So, taking sacrifices in that way. In regards to issues that arise, I think majority of them came into my dissertation phase when it's all on you.
Yeah, so, kind of going to that writing part, I want both of y'all to kind of go into that. And Dr. Aaron, you kind of start with that. What was that like? What was, how did you go about gathering your participants, your research? What was that really like?
Oh, hey, before you go, I just want to give a shout out to Dr. Monica Burke.
Yo, I see it right there.
Hey, she was in my master's program, and I remember I was stressed, and that's another person I would reach out. I know she got tired of me calling her and texting her. She's like, boy, I know she did, but she was there all the time, man. She was so helpful. So I just want to shout out to Dr. Burke as well.
Yeah. We appreciate that. And y'all have dropped major names, of, legends in the game, and I'm proud of y'all for that, because people need to know not only where to go, but as it would say about both, who to work with as you're doing this and putting this together. So, Dr. Aaron, kind of go into that real quick. What was that research like? Because I don't think people understand sometimes what it is putting that dissertation together.
Man, one of the hardest things in my life. It's a project, right? And because my research focuses in on single Black mothers, that is my story. Mm-hmm. So, I'm putting together a project that represents me and my mom. So me and my mom's a single Black mother, and she helped me get through college. So there were times where, me and my mom would have conversations like, hey, how are we going to come up with this tuition money? I got $2,000. You got to find the other $1,000. And we'll work like that. So having that passion project be something that I wanted to share my mother and my story with everyone, it was what drove the force of this research. So when it got down to writing that thing, brother, there was days where it's like, I don't want to touch this thing. There was days where it's like, baby, let's find something to do. Let's do whatever we can, but not this dissertation. But one way that, I was able to accomplish it is I noticed that I needed to take small breaks. So what I would do is I'll work real hard, pop out some pages, and the next thing you know, if you all know me, I like to travel. My wife and I, we out the country. So I write hard, work hard, we'll leave the country. I write hard, work hard, we'll leave the country. I propose my dissertation defense, we'll leave the country. I mean, not dissertation proposal, we'll leave the country. So every single time there was a break for me to be able to catch up on, having that time with my wife and being able to just breathe. Because if you look at the overall scale of writing a dissertation, it's like a big project. But if you break it up, it's doable. It's so doable. In regards to, that chapter 2, that's the most difficult part to write.
It's a literature review, folks. Literature review.
That chapter 2 is the most difficult part to write. And I would say it got to the point where I was looking for feedback from my committee, and I knew my chair schedule. Like I knew she'd be walking from her office to class from this time to this time. Let me just show up to the office, and that small conversation from the office to the class, or she'll provide me some feedback, and I'll be there for her after class. Hey, you said this right here.
That's real. That's
Can we
real.
talk about that? And I walk into the car. So because I was on campus and I had access, it made it a little bit more. I can touch them, right?
That's right.
When you send an email, it's like it can sit in a box. They can answer. They don't want to answer. But when you in front of them, you can get all that. And sometimes you'll catch that heat. Like, you know what, Aaron, you need to back up for a second. I need this feedback. I got to get it. So there was times where, I felt lonely through the dissertation process. And that's when you need to have your circle, your significant other, or whomever to be there with you to pull you through that or help you through that. So that process is difficult. And I would think that is, out of everything, is the most challenging.
Yeah. And that's real time, and I think I tell a lot of people that too. And y'all tuning in with us, go ahead and let us know where you're from, what doctorate program you're in. We want to hear from you. We appreciate that chat blowing up. We appreciate y'all checking us out on the doc chat. And kind of to go back to what I was saying, you were not getting a dissertation done through text message or email, not with your committee. No, you need to call them, Zoom call, get in their face like Dr. Heron said, because I'm telling you, they got about 15 other students they probably working with.
If you're not in their face, you're not a priority.
I'll tell you. Dr. Rashawn, go ahead and drop that knowledge, man. Tell us what happened with
so,
process.
Once, I'll be honest, like when I got to the dissertation phase, I sit there and thinking like, so when I started, I'm like, oh, this should be cake. I did all the work. And then I started writing, right? Chapter 2, again, the worst part of the whole thing, right? I still have bad dreams about it, man. But the thing is that was getting me was I was looking for one thing and I got into like 10 different other things. Like, I didn't know it spun into all these different things. So I had to keep narrowing it down because there's some really great information out there. And I was like, I could talk about this. But I realized I needed, keep it straight to the point. This is something I could talk about later. But again, it's definitely a project that you're on by yourself. It's, I was, going through it and I was just like, okay, I got chapter 1, chapter 2 done. Here goes the method. Here goes this. And it was just draining. I wish I had money like Dr. Aaron to travel. I had 2 kids, man. So, they took all my money. But I will say, I will say once I finished a chapter or a section, I did do a little celebration.
Yeah.
So another thing is I was writing this during COVID years. So while you graduated, I was going through it like I couldn't really see him in person. So that was really hard for me. Yeah, because I was like, I can't see him in person, but I could email him, Zoom with him. But it wasn't the same. But I was fortunate to have people that supported me and cared about me, right? So, but yeah, going back, it was just thinking about my whole process, just writing. And I think the other thing is the biggest thing I had a challenge with was, I thought I was I think I'm a good writer, right? But after reading this chapter, writing this, like everything just starts blending together. You're like, what did I just say there? I don't know. So I always had people reading my papers, editors here and there. And I will say the value of an editor or someone that can read your work is important. Try not to do it on your own, man, because it's one of those things you have to have a second set of eyes. Because again, I never wore glasses until I finished my doc. So that tells you anything, you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely, a challenging journey. But I look back at it and I'm like, man, I made it through it. You know what I'm saying? It's a great moment. I get to celebrate it, celebrate the accomplishments. And I also thank my spouse. I told her, like, you know what? Without you, I wouldn't have done it because she was constantly like, yo, you need to finish this. Quit BSing around. Go do this. Go to Panera. I know the guy at Panera was tired of seeing me. I had a dedicated seat and everything, man. And I spent a lot of money at Panera too. But yeah, it was great. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I see my homegirl Leisha. What up, Doc? I'm gonna call you Doc because you almost done, girl. She's an Indiana Stater and she works she's at Ball State. Her and her husband.
That's
Big
what's up.
stuff, So yes. So Alicia, love you. Your husband Felix, y'all do great. Y'all the next in line. You know what I'm
Felix
saying?
is a Sigma.
Oh yeah, dang on Sigmas. It's all
Look, that higher ed, that education world, a small world, baby. I'm
Yep.
telling you,
very small, very
Can I add
small.
small
something?
world.
Can I add a tip?
Yeah, what's up?
I would say at Indiana State University, we had write nights. So our program had write nights or writing weekends that were dedicated towards all of all of the doc students to come in from wherever they were
Yeah.
and be able to, have their research looked at by their committee chair, or just to be able to be in an environment, not have to worry about meals. Take advantage of those if your university have those. I know our program hosts them, I would say once a semester. So if you're able to be around other individuals, you don't have to worry about what you're going to cook. You're away from family. You can just focus in on writing. Take advantage of those if they have.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
So
good.
I will say one thing, man. It was
Yeah.
I
Take us
think you made
to your end as well. Take us in what it felt like going into that
yeah.
defense. Take us into that too.
So
Woo!
I'm gonna be real brief on this one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm jealous of Dr. Aaron's program because there was a conference, man. What was it? I think it was like Blacks in Higher or
Oh
whatever it
yeah,
was.
we
Right?
run that.
Yeah, man, run it, boy. I was like, what is Indiana State? I didn't know y'all had all of them. Yeah, but like I pull up by myself. I'm the only one from Ball State, and I think I was with you, John. I don't know. Maybe I was. It's you or Lamarcus, one of the two. And I saw Indiana State come in. I'm like, yo,
Blacks
where
everywhere.
are all these people of color coming
Yep.
from? I was like, yo, I need to switch fast, but I was pretty much done. But anywho, but yeah, that was one thing, man. Y'all did some amazing stuff. I met some of your people, man. They are some dope people. So, but anywho, but yeah, at the end, one of the things is I look back, I did my defense successful. They say you need to fix up on these little things. Clutch, I will do it. Let's get it done.
Mhm.
So I knocked out the proposal, and then started writing my final chapters. And I was like, all right, let's get it done. And I think that's when the motivation really hit in because I could see the light at the end of the tunnel.
There it is. Yeah.
And I was like, writing crazy, man. I think I knocked it out in like 2 weeks. It felt like, time went fast.
Yeah.
But anywho, I've knocked it out, got done early spring of 2022, and I was ready to go, man. I think I defended August of 21, that fall of 21, and I was done early spring of
That's right.
22. And it was a moment, you know what I'm saying? When they said congratulations, I mean they say all you gotta do is remove this part. I'm like, that's it. I never deleted something so fast in my life. I highlighted, delete, sent it off, But when they said, you're done, congratulations, Dr. Vashon, like I don't tear up, but boy, it's like when I got off line for Kappa, boy, I was like, I'm done? No more? Listen, y'all know the feeling. But like I was like, that only happened twice in my life. And I was like, yo, I was trying hard. I was like, taking deep breaths on the video. I know I had an ugly face, man, but it was a glorious day. I had a lot of great friends, a lot of people, support, and it was done, and I was like, I think I went to sleep for like 3 weeks straight. I called in to work the next day or something, man.
That's real. That's
But
real.
yeah, it was a great feeling, like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And it's so funny, after graduating, I was like, I'm not writing no more. I quickly said it, but now I'm at the point of I actually submitted some proposals and I'm starting getting back into the groove. So that's one thing I think some people may experience after they graduated. They kind of went like, I'm done. I don't want to do anything.
Right.
But like the itch comes up, you see stuff, you're like, oh, I can write about that. Oh, I can talk about that. So I had one. I got a proposal. I mean, a conference presentation with a fellow colleague. She works at a Northwestern Bell Hooks conference in Kentucky, and then I'm hopefully going to submit something to here at Howard University on Black men's mental health and mental health matters. So those are things I'm gearing up, and it's in the recent couple of months that I really got back into feeling like I need to do something with this degree. So
That's good.
yeah, it's been great. You know, like I said, I tell people I'm glad it's over. But at the same time, I look back and if I see someone struggling, like I'm like, yo, you got this, you could do this. Like I said, Felix, Alicia, I'm like, hey, y'all next. You know what I'm saying? Get it done. You know, if y'all need my assistance, I don't mind. Like I'm not that person because when I went through my program, no one was willing trying to help me. But I realized that I need to be that person. I'm trying to break that mold of that hazing 101 that's all pop up. And I want to make sure, you know, hey, we got to help each other. You know what I'm saying? Get us through because we need more of us in the world. So
That's right. And that's why we're here on the doc chat today, man. Got Dr. Vashawn, got Dr. Aaron. Shout out to everybody commenting. They showing the love. I'm telling y'all right now. So I'm going to let my guy, Dr. Aaron, and hey, once again, if you're here, tell us what program you're in, what city y'all repping from. Let us know where y'all from. We see y'all commenting. Boy, y'all coming through. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate the love. So Dr. Aaron, tell us about when you started to see that light at the end of the tunnel and what did it mean?
Well, I would say first, the dissertation process is going to be ups and there's going to be downs. It's a whole process of, you know, we say when you think of it, you think about starting and ending, but there's a lot of different hoops you got to jump through that a lot of individuals don't tell you about. So I'm about to tell you about them right now. So open your ears. So at the very beginning, you look at it like this is something. This is going to have to be 150 pages. Woo, 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 woo. So in breaking that down, you know, you really just working in and honing in on finishing 1 through 3. And after you get through 1 through 3, it's like, okay, the fun part starts. Now I can conduct research, but no one tells you that there's an editing process that has to happen, getting it approved through your department and getting it approved through everybody that needs to see it before you can even submit to IRB. So being able to get through all those hoops is something that you need to consider when going through this process.
What's IRB? You gotta go. You gotta go over that real quick. Just real quick.
So IRB is you getting the institution's stamp of approval to be able to go out and conduct your research.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I gotta say one thing. All right. I was fortunate not have to get IRB approval for my study. Listen. I asked, look, I sent it in. I was like, do I have to do this? I did the IRB paper and everything. The lady hit me back. She was like, no, you don't need it. I was like, are you sure? Because everything else I probably did about 20 hours, you know. And she said, no, listen, I saved that. I still have that email to this day. In case they try to come back and say, you didn't get an IRB approval. But listen, I was bam, sent it on. You know what I'm saying? I think that was because I've done IRB before and it took like a few weeks. I was expecting like, all right, I gotta give me some time. But she hit me back, said, no, it's not, you know, hurting anybody and it's not really. And I'm like,
well,
okay.
I can tell you at state, they're gonna make you.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna do
EY too.
Full
Indiana
review,
University, same thing.
Or expedited. I was expedited.
Yeah, and the thing is like there are, you know, a lot of we Ball State do require it, you know, but I was feeling like y'all didn't want me to do it. Okay, I'm not going to second.
And some schools are different. And to clarify, because we had a question earlier, I wanted to make sure people realize Dr. Vashawn did an EDD and Dr. Aaron and myself did a PhD. So sometimes those are differences that you will run into. That will definitely run into. Yeah. Dr. Aaron, go ahead.
So, you know, going through the IRB process, that's where I believed I stopped at. And from there, you know, once you get the stamp of approval from the university, it's all uphill. It felt so good to be able to interact with my participants, being able to, you know, ask those questions and hear their stories and feel what they were going through at the time with their child and things of that nature. So after you've done gathering all that information, it's downhill for a little bit. It's like, okay, now I need to transcribe the interviews and you need to go through and select themes and all of that. So it's a ebb and flow. But being able to get towards the end and start providing recommendations for further research and things that you can see that can help benefit society. Like it gets to the point where it's like, I need to bang this bad boy out. So I would say all that to say, at my dissertation defense, my mom was present. Half of Indiana State was there. I'm saying that being funny, but it was a packed room.
Yeah.
And individuals are there to support you. I recall calling you, John, like today's a big day. Like, just having that family around, that support, it felt so good. And my theme song for today was what's that one song? We ready, we ready, we ready. Like, yeah, like I'm ready for this. And it wasn't a sense like me against my committee. It was a sense of me being able to stand up to my committee and show that the work that I've done is beneficial to society. It's my mom's and I story, and I want everybody in this room to hear from my participants through what I was able to gather from them.
That's
so
right.
It was just a great time. And when they called me doctor, I literally got up from my seat, hugged my mom. She crying, I'm crying. I don't care about the whole audience in the background.
No.
It was a moment between me and my mother, and my family where we're crying because we never would have thought that, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Not a lot of black men are able to see, past 25, let alone get a PhD. You know what I mean? So it was just a moment where it's like, we got this, we made it. This was for you, mom, and the community. So it was just a moment of, tears, and, my wife was there. So that support, it was just so lovely, man.
Yeah.
And to have individuals, in that room for me to be comfortable enough to, share my feelings and be there in tears and all the love and support. It was like no other.
Oh, yeah. And it was a blessing to be a part
Yeah.
of. Both of y'all, wrapping it all up, those defenses,
Yeah.
to see Dr. Fashawn and Dr. Aaron wrap that thing up. I mean, it was incredible because all three of us was with each other just looking like, man, I'm at this point, Doc. I'm at this ain't no joke. Like this stuff is crazy. They jumping on me. They on my back. They going crazy over here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It wasn't no joke. Wasn't no joke. So, like I said, everybody that's tuning into the doc chat. This is Dr. Aaron Slocum. This is Dr. Fashawn Broadnax. They here with me, Dr. John C. Turner, aka the Professor JT, and we having a little fun here. We want to do more of this. I want to hear from more of y'all doctors out there. I'm gonna want some of y'all to come and say, you know what, Dr. JT, I think I want to share my story too, because and both of these brothers said it before we got on. Somebody needs to hear our story. Somebody needs to hear it. And I said, there's nobody better than these two brothers coming on with me first up the bat, and we're going to do this thing. So I got a little treat for y'all here. I want to show y'all what this end thing look like. I want to show y'all what this look like. All right. This is the great, the amazing Dr. Vashawn Broadnax as he wrapped that thing up.
Vashawn Harwell Broadnax.
The whole government.
Michelle Kawaki Dudka, Professor of Adult Higher and Community Education.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
What was that, Vashawn? What was it? What was that? Tell me about that moment. I want to know about that moment. Tell me about that moment.
All right. So, when they said, hey, congratulations, you finished, I was still a little skeptical about, like, I know they're going to hit me with something funny. They're going to hit me with something funny. I ain't finished something, which they did. I have to tell you the story. But they did hit me with something funny, man. I was so mad. But at that point, I was like, you know what? Don't even care. Let's pay it, So with my dissertation process, you got to be in a certain number of hours, right? And I was short 1 hour.
Dang it. Wow.
And they were like, hey, I'm sorry we messed it up. I'm like, what do you mean messed up? You know what I'm saying? And this is probably about 2-3 weeks before graduation. And they said, well, you could do one of two things. You could pay for the 1 hour, which is like $500. I'm like, you know what? Let me pay that $500. So I was like, let me hear it. I don't even know where that $500 came from, but it came from somewhere, right? Came out. But when I put that, got hooded and everything, it was like, yo, this is real. This is really real. So and I was like, I'm done. And the funny thing is, man, because I think it was a few months before I called John. I was like, Dr. John, what are you doing, man? And for some reason, you were MIA for a while. And I'm like, where did John go? I ain't seen him. This man says, I'm in Virginia, bro. I was like, what? Didn't even think. I was like, this is the man that born and raised in Indiana, left. And sure enough, I was like, man, I think I said something like, oh, that's far, bro. I'm just trying to look, and I was job searching too. But funny story, man, I'm in Virginia too. Like literally like an hour and a half north of John. And I tell all my friends, I was so ready to get out of Indiana after that.
See?
9 years, man. 9 years of my life. It's great. No, I met a lot of great people, a lot of amazing people in Indiana, and I still connect with a lot of them. It's just like, it's time to close that chapter and move on. But, I think I was ready. I was definitely ready to move on, new experience, new opportunity, and take on the world, So I think that's the feeling it gave me getting in here. It's like having Superman cape on for a little bit, I can do whatever I want now. Let's go. So,
That's
yes.
beautiful right there. That's where you want. And not to be outdone. I got you, man. That Dr. Aaron Slocum. I got you, man.
I'm a COVID graduate, so I'm wondering what you're about to pull up. Oh.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let's do this.
So we're going to say right now, congratulations.
Oh, stop a little bit.
We got a little buffer.
Hold on. We can't buffer out here. Here we go.
So we're going to say right now, congratulations, Dr. Slocum.
Oh, Mom. Can I have a hug? Yes, it is. Man.
Hey, those,
man.
I
I'm
tell
gonna get you on the doc chat. I'm gonna get you, man. I'm gonna get you. I'm telling you, the moments right there, baby. You can't put a price on it. Tell me what that was, Dr. Aaron. Tell me what that was.
Well, like I said before, I felt like I just said everything. It's that feeling, man. It's that getting over the hump, having your significant other and family around. It's finally being able to be done. Even though I had on the reverse end, I had a shitload of edits that I needed to do. But being able to, get it done, have that support, it was a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. So we got about 15 minutes left. Once again, you're on the doc chat with me, Dr. John C. Turner, aka the Professor JT. We got some people that's tuning in. Boy, you got them eyes wet over there, Dr. Aaron. I'm telling y'all. Telling y'all. Shout out Dr. Reed. I see you, Dr. Reed. I see you over there.
Yeah, we said them thug tears, baby. Thug tears. That ain't real cry.
If y'all got any questions, go ahead. We got a couple more minutes to drop some questions. I'm gonna go back to Dr. Vashon. So you said you're in Virginia now. Now tell us about this doctor life now that you're done. Give us about 2-3 minutes. Like, what is it really like being over the hump?
I think it took me a while to realize that, it's like, hey, I'm a doctor, right? But at the same time, I'm not like we had a conversation before we got on live, is like, I'm still hard at accepting Dr. Vashon Broadnax or Dr. Broadnax. And I tell people like, hey, just call me Mr. Vashon, whatever. I'm cool. But, when I'm in a certain room with certain people, I'm like, yeah, I'm Dr. Broadnax. But I think the biggest thing is, it's getting to realization that now I've been in it for a year. Let's let's start getting to work, getting back to work, doing things that I enjoy doing and writing about things. I just applied for an adjunct position here at Howard University. So fingers crossed, hopefully like this is my first one. I don't know what I'm doing. Again, I did like sending a proposal. I mean, not proposal, but teaching philosophy. I'm like, oh no, I just like to teach. You know what I mean? But those are things I have to learn. Understanding what I need to do and getting the information across and getting that point. So I think those are really things I'm coming into now. So like I said, this summer I got a few things going on where I'm presenting and just getting back into it. I think I had that year off. Like I said, we went on cruises, we kicked it. Heck, I moved from Indiana to Stafford, Virginia.
I did.
We're about to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that comes in. And just I guess now is really getting back into it and let's start doing the work and making these moves and letting people know who I am. And I think that's the biggest thing coming to Howard. They don't know who I am, but in Indiana, people knew who I was. At Ball State, they knew who I was.
That's real.
I'm now it's kind of like creating this image of, not image, but I should say persona that says, hey, I'm Dr. Rashawn Broadnax, this is my thing, and this is who I am, so on and so on. So yeah, life with the doc, it's an opportunity to recreate yourself, and I shouldn't say recreate yourself, but put yourself in a spaces that normally prior to completing you wouldn't normally be in.
That's good. That's good. And Dr. Aaron, life now that you over that hump, you just celebrated your 3-year doctor anniversary, actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how's
yeah.
it feel, man? How's it feel?
It feels good, man. Like I said, strategically, I decided to get this when I was at that point, or go after getting a doctorate when I was young or younger than most. So being able to grow with this thing has been a beautiful thing, and I've seen it play a role in my career trajectory. Every time I turn around, a new opportunity is in front of me, and being able to take advantage of it and be like, I don't think I have this or that. So if you know me, I feel like I have a new gig, a new something to celebrate every single year, and it's been nothing but blessings my way, with the grace of God. And I definitely think that having the PhD has played a role in me having access to the opportunities, but also my character and the drive that I have and the support that I have from my significant other. It's all played a role in how I've been able to maneuver and move at Indiana State University and even in the community.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, we did have one question. It was a while back ago, but we got to give Kimberly some love. So, talk about the time commitment, and this is in any doc program. You're going to lose your mind? No, you're not going to lose your mind. Up in here, you're not. You're not. Can you still do the program? Not go crazy and discuss the difference between EDD, PhD. I'll attack that one just real quick. Difference basically a lot of times are specialization. PhD is your more broader, but you could do that in so many different aspects, education, different things. But EDD is strictly education. That's pretty much what that is. And a lot of times you might just do a project, you might do a dissertation. Some people just do a paper, it just depends. But that PhD, you're doing a dissertation. That's for sure. And your research is going to be spread out a little bit further. So I'll let Mr. EDD go first, kind of tell us your tips and,
So for me, when I applied, we didn't have a PhD program in higher ed. We only had an EDD. So I was kind of limited on what choices I had. So again, I graduated adult higher and community education, which kind of covers adult learning, higher education, and community education. So I got a little broad spectrum, a more of a practitioner focus. But again, speaking with other PhD, I do PhD work, but I was going in with the intent of I'm going to be just getting jobs. I don't want to do research. I don't want to do all this. But that's the reason why I looked at the EDD program, because again, my original intent. Now, if I went back and got a PhD, would it change? Probably not. It's kind of more of you do a little bit more work. I don't even know you do a little bit more work, but it's really more so how the program is set up, because the people in my the chair, the committee members, they all had PhDs, so they were telling people you're going to do this PhD work even though you had EDD. And the reason why, because the PhD programs were Indiana State, IU, and Purdue. So you can't have too many in the state. That's what the rumor I hear. I don't know, but so that's a politics thing. But again, at the same time, I wasn't going to go to IU or Purdue or Indiana State because Ball State paid for free. It was free, so I was like, okay, let's go. But yeah, I mean, the commit. I'm gonna tell my experience to Kimberly about my commitment to the program. Yeah, it's a lot of commitment. You know, when I first started, they said make sure you tell your spouse or significant other you're gonna be busy. And I was like, oh, I'll be all right. You know, I can do this and do that. Nah, you got to be committed. You know, it's definitely, time consuming. You're going to spend many nights. Are you going to lose your mind? No, you're not going to lose your mind. Now, you might go into a part where you're like, is this really for me? Do I really want to finish this? Because there's times like there's a time I tell everybody there's a dark stage for me. And I was like, I didn't want to talk to people. I just want to get this work done. I was frustrated. But I got over it. And I was in a better place once I got a new committee. So again, everybody's experience is different. You know, I've met people that said, man, my doc program was a breeze. I was like, what? Where did they talk that at?
I know which one that was too.
Yeah. Like, but again, it's your experience. Again, I'm married with 2 kids going through a doc program. It's totally different than a single man or a single woman that can do 5 classes at one time, which is crazy. I'm gonna just say that.
It's different. It's different stuff. Dr. Aaron, what you think? Kind of your thoughts?
I'm going to touch on that time commitment part. I think that the structure that it depends also on the structure of your program.
That's right.
Our program at Indiana State University is a linear program. So you in a cohort, you have your cohort members, you're all going through the same classes. So that class part is the most organized part because you got to be in class from this time to this time on this day to that day. It's when you get to that dissertation phase where it's like no structure and you have to create that structure for yourself. So in regards to time commitment, I think that, you will find ways to, get the work done. You will find ways to get the grades that you want to receive. Sometimes everybody's not aiming for an A. Sometimes everybody's not aiming for, an A+. But you will figure that out yourself throughout your program. So that time commitment is going to come, and it's going to be an ebb and flow. There's going to be family situations that you're going to go through, and you only have so much brain power to give things. So sometimes you're going to prioritize school, sometimes you're going to prioritize family and other things. So you're going to find your way. You're not going to lose your mind, but I would suggest that, you have that someone that you can talk to about what you're going through, whether it's a cohort member or another classmate or another instructor or your significant other. Have that circle of support that you can, lean on when things get hard. So you can talk about those things, because one thing that we don't talk about is what we're going through. And I know this is a platform to display what we're going through, but for some, you need to find that support system. I worked as a full-time employee and went to school, so it's doable. It's important, though, for you to have a supervisor that knows what you're going through and knows your goals. I've had the privilege of being supervised by Dr. Bailey Bridgewater. Keyword, Dr. Bailey Bridgewater.
Know what you're going through.
She was able to support me for instance, those right nights wasn't free. So she used professional development funds from my department to be able to support me to go to those right nights. In addition to giving me or allowing for me to have time off. If you're getting a new job, negotiate a writing night or a half day if you can get it. But that supervisor really is going to play a role in how you handle stress from work and school. So that's important. And I believe the last question that she had up was what, John?
It was PG EDD, but Dr. Rashawn
Ah,
kind of hit
yeah,
it, so we're
you hit
okay.
that
We're
all on the
okay.
head. You're fine.
We got another real quick question. We got about less 5 minutes left, but real quick, Dr. Rashawn, tips before going into a program. So we got a lot of folks is looking at programs. What would you tell them before they went in?
Definitely research the program. Research the professors, faculty members in that program. Um, as I stated before, you definitely want to make sure if you have a certain interest, make sure that faculty member or someone in that department has similar interest. Um, because I wrote something that says, the relationship between the doctoral student and the committee member is very important. But if their interests don't align together, it's not going to be a great relationship. It's kind of like being in a relationship with a spouse. He or she loves God and you don't love God, there are going to be issues, right? So those are things you want to make sure your interests are aligned, because again, there may be a point in your journey that they may try to put something that they did into your study, and you really don't know nothing about it. You really don't have any interest in it, so you're spinning the wheel. I had one of my coworkers. She graduated from a similar program at High Ball State with me, and she said she didn't like her dissertation study because her committee chair told her to do this certain thing, and she just did it just because she wanted to get done, and she was
Mm,
not proud of it. She was like, whatever. So yeah, definitely make sure you know the committee, the faculty that are in your program. I think that's the key part. And also, I want to say cohorts are amazing. I wish I was a part of a cohort because man, I was.
I
that's almost
love
another topic for another day, brother.
Yeah, it's a topic for another day. I don't know. I never had a cohort, but from what I hear, you got the same people going through it at the same time as you. So that would say,
Yeah, and it's different programs,
yeah.
different programs. But
Mhm.
yeah, we about to wrap up here real quick. So I'm gonna give Dr. Aaron just 1 minute. Where can they find you? And any last words?
Um, you can find me on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. Reach out, Aaron Slocum, and you can search Indiana State and find all of my information. I'm there. Um, what I will say, final tips. If you're thinking about a program, though, definitely sit in on a class. That's most
That's right.
important.
That's right.
Ask if you can sit in on a class. Ask if you can sit in on a dissertation defense. You want to see that with your own eyes to see how they treat their own students.
That's right.
To see if this is a program for you. To see if the pace is fast or something that you can, keep up with.
That's
So
right.
ask to sit on a class, ask to sit in on a dissertation defense to be able to see that for yourselves.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Well,
and
we got to roll Dr. Rashawn. We
yeah,
got we
go
got
ahead, go
30
ahead.
seconds.
Oh
30
yeah,
seconds.
man. Just search my name. I'm the one and only. I like to say. If you find something bad about me, that ain't me. That's another Vashawn H.
No.
Broadnax. So No, Howard University, Vashawn HB at Gmail. Well, not Gmail. Instagram. Check me out. I post a lot about my kids, my dog, my wife. Connect with me. LinkedIn. Definitely. If you have questions, please reach out to me. I don't mind sharing my experience, giving advice. I'm here to help you. I want to help anybody that's interested or going through the program. And if you need a shoulder or a ear to listen, hey, I'm here. I don't mind. I got a lot of free time. You know what I'm saying? I get home and I tell everybody I got an hour and a half commute to the crib. So I mean, you call me between 5 and 6:30. Hey, I'm all yours. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. So this is the Doc Chat. All our commenters, viewers, man, this was beautiful. This viewer, Dr. Aaron Slocum, Dr. Vashawn Broadnax. Man, these are my brothers from another mother. I appreciate y'all. Hey, like I said before, if you want your time to shine over here in the Doc Chat, hit me up. Dr. John C. Turner, aka the Professor JT. I'm on that LinkedIn pretty heavy. You know where to find me. God bless y'all. We thank y'all once again. Until next time, peace.